Okay, I'd like to say hello and welcome everybody, welcome again. We're getting a side-on camera angle for this video. And I've got a nice cup of tea. And I just woke up from a short nap. Okay, a moment ago, about 10 minutes ago, or about 15 minutes ago now, I had a nap a moment ago. I was literally, after having my dinner, I laid down on the bed and I was feeling a bit tired and I fell asleep. And it's always good to get that extra little bit of sleep if you do need it, you know. The time now is almost 10 o'clock at night, and I'm going to start doing some art and animation. I've got loads of work ahead of me tonight on the animation front, blasting it. I want to say in this video I'm just going to talk to you briefly. I can have a little chat with you about martial arts and my background on some of my martial arts training I've done in Kung Fu. Okay, in one of the styles I learned just five animal Kung Fu. Now let me talk to you about that. Okay, the five animal Kung Fu that I learned was like the same as all of the martial arts that I've studied in my life. In this video I'm 37 years of age, 37 years old now, and I started my martial arts when I was 12. As I say, I've not studied one martial art all the way through to black belt, or like, you know, I'm not like an expert master in any one style or anybody else's system, as I always say, because, you know, I do what I do, and it's my own training and my own knowledge. And in terms of my own flow and the way I train as well, and that's always mine. Do you know what I mean? Like when you learn something, whenever, like anything you learn, if you learn it from somewhere, like martial arts for example, yeah, it's a system, it's a set-based system, but it's also self-skill, self-knowledge, you know, like you learn about yourself and what you're doing, and if you've got an open mind, and you're able to adapt things, you work your own way, you know. But so, you know, you get two black belts in karate or whatever, you know, they're not going to be necessarily the same, you know what I mean? You've got your own way about it, you know. Oh, I love this tea. But I'm babbling, kind of zombified, just waking up and kind of babbling on here like a zombie. But yeah, so when I say yeah, the five animal Kung Fu, okay, the five animal Kung Fu I learned for around, I'll say roughly 3 years, and it was that kind of thing. You know, like most of this, it's really funny. Like most of my formal training in martial arts, with the exception of the stuff I learned in China, under two different teachers mainly, but with the exception of the training I did in China, all of my other martial arts, formal martial arts training I did, or most of it, in the UK, back in London, where I'm originally from, you know. I learned in like 3 years, 3 year time gaps, sort of thing. Like, I mean, like time segments. Like I learned karate when I was 12. I learned for like 3 years. Then I moved on, and later on there was like a few years break because I had other things going on, so I weren't doing martial arts. And then after that I got back into martial arts, my late teens, and I started doing, you know, kickboxing. I did kickboxing for 3 years, and there was like other martial arts in, like there was kung fu as well in the same school, but it was like it was called kung fu, but it was more like their own thing, man. I don't know what it was. Not putting them down. It was very good training, but it was more like a collection of like karate and techniques from other systems. I don't know where they come from. They might have been from jiu-jitsu, some stuff from jiu-jitsu, judo, aikido, whatever. It was more like a mixed kind of self-defense training with locks and throws and cutters and karate stances, clearly karate stuff, you know. but it was a very good system also. So they had this, they called it Kung Fu, but they were clearly experts on what they was doing, and it was basically a discipline that they put together, I think, which came from a lot of different martial arts systems, but it was mainly a kickboxing school, and I was doing the kickboxing as well. I was doing both, so that was very good training, full on hardcore training, let me say. And then I did that, as I say, for like 3 years. Yeah, and then again the five animal kung fu, which came when I was in my last year or so of doing the kickboxing. I started doing that simultaneously on different days. And the training I was doing, by the way, I was training every day. I was always in the it's like 6 days a week. Whenever the place was open, I was in there, the kickboxing school. And then because I started doing the five animal kung fu in the other place, so I started to do, that on different days, But yeah, let me talk about that. Okay, so that's basically a bit of my history there in the background of most of my training back in the UK. I did go to a couple of different Wing Chun schools and train there for like a couple of classes and stuff. And there was one I went to for like, I don't know, it was a few weeks or something, a month or something it was. And then there was another couple of Taekwondo schools I went and tried out as well. And I watched a Wing Chun seminar. I was really getting into the Wing Chun, And I've been around looking at different schools and things, and I saw a kickboxing fight competition, martial arts competition I went to watch as well. That was with the school I was at, the kickboxing, but they was like competing with different schools. I was going to take part, but I didn't in the end. I know other people did. But let's get back to what I was saying. Okay, so when I came to China later on, as I say, I started my other training. Yes, so it's a quick, brief background recap on that. Okay, so I came to China much later on, early 20s, right? And I started, not mid-20s, I was early 20s. I come to China. I was about, 22 years of age at the time. And I was doing, let me think about this. Of course, it was the long fist wushu. Okay, long fist wushu, Chung Chuan, as I said, long fist, and then basics in that, and I did the weapons training, bow staff. I mean, gun is called, the stick, the long stick, and the broadsword, which is like a saber, dao. Okay, good. Dao dao. And I was learning that, I learned a couple of different forms, as in pattern forms in the long fist wushu, and I learned, and also the weapons forms, and then, as I say, I started to learn some Bagua. I learned Bagua for like, I don't know how long it was, probably about a couple of months. And there was like weeks where I was going like literally daily, going there. And there was other weeks where I just go like a couple of times a week. But I was learning that for a few months, and I was training hard by myself. And all these years, no matter what training I've had in martial arts, I've always trained hardcore by myself, as well as just going to the schools and training with these people. The long fist wushu and the Bagua that I learned them outside in parks or open spaces outside. It wasn't in a gym, a dojo, a room or anything like that. The training I did in China, was done outside. I won't talk about them too much now. I've got other videos. Check out the other videos on my channel, okay, and you can know a little bit more about them. We can talk about stuff like that further. I'll explain stuff if you like. But I want to talk about this five animal kung fu. So let's talk about it. Okay, so my five animal kung fu that I was learning back in England was some of the best training I've ever done in martial arts in my life, in terms of fundamental, rooted stance work and conditioning on the arms, the forearms for the blocking, and toughened me up in one way or another, I'll tell you that. And the I'm not tough like that. I'm just saying that it really helped me so much, me as a person. And you had men and women in there of all different ages, all learning these fighting techniques, the kung fu techniques, the philosophy, the deepness, the breathing techniques. All I mean, just so much to it. It was so amazing. And the thing is, it was quite a simple style. When I say that, it wasn't like I mean, I see styles online, and I see people doing like the animal style, like kung fu systems and stuff, and they're either very fluid, or even the ones that are not so fluid and flowing, like a wushu kind of thing. But even ones that look like, I mean, I see stuff online here and there where people are doing stuff that's it's still got, I don't know what to call it, more of a essence. It's still like more to see, I'd say, than what I was learning. What we was learning is probably the most ugly fucking kung fu system you've ever seen out there. I'm sorry to say, it was like really, really drab. It was like less stylized than Wing Chun even. Wing Chun's not about style. Wing Chun's, in terms of looking pretty, I mean, Wing Chun's just directly about the skill, and I love Wing Chun. But this style that we were learning was like, it had so many elements of Wing Chun. See, Wing Chun's based off of a lot of snake and crane techniques, they say, right? But we were learning a very similar style. There were elements of it which were clearly like Honggar Kung Fu, Honggar, Hong Shred. There were things like that. They're all that kind of thing. You hear about different kinds of styles, white eyebrow, whatever. All kinds of different styles. Five was it? 5 elements, fist. Five was it? 5 ancestors, fist. All these different things. Excuse me. But they're all like similar the way they look. We learned basic Chinna skills. Okay, Chinna skills are basically like, they talk about pressure points and stuff. There's a lot of pressure point training and stuff, but we were talking about how you restrain someone and you twist here and you twist there and you certain grabs and things in certain pressure points in the body, how to manipulate some. To be honest, I didn't learn any of it properly, but I had it done to me. I saw other people, being taken down with these skills by the amazing teacher, amazing. I used to always think my teacher came from China, but I think it was from Malaysia. Got a feeling it was from Malaysia. I don't know. I still to this day I don't know if my teacher was Chinese or Malaysian. I think he was from Malaysia, but he could speak Cantonese. He was always speaking Cantonese. And I don't know if it was. He may have been Chinese, but he may have been living in Malaysia for many years or something like that. I don't even know. What? If you hold on 1 second. That's my microphone making funny noises. Oh, okay, good. So, yeah, that's sorted. So I was just going to say, the training we did, we learned some deep stuff, basic self-defense skills, amazing blocking, how to simultaneously use 2 hands to defend yourself while strengthening the body, while working a certain amount of flexibility, which worked for that. We did some stretching, but it was more like strength training, breathing, mindset, calm, focus, and very good strength training in the legs and stance work. The root, the root of martial arts, the Kung Fu, they call it Kung Fu, the inner power, the all that, core energy. We sweated it out, we burned it out, in there without jumping around and stuff. Like when I was learning the kickboxing, that was so hardcore, all the sparring and stuff. But not only that, like the workouts in the kickboxing school I was doing prior to and at the same time. I was, we were running around, punching pads, kicking, the push-ups, fucking next minute jumping jacks, jumping up sit-ups, jumping up, kicking the bags, hitting the pads, sparring, just combos, you're just all at it, just all out, just lively stuff. Running, you know, having to run. People would get into groups. You have to do things, run, jump over this person's back, or sort of roll over, or slide under that one, and stand up. 50 punches on the bag, go down, push ups, jump straight back up. 50 kicks, or whatever. Run back to the other side of the room, touch the wall, come back. They had all these crazy, like, you were shitting yourself, sweating, you know, really working out hardcore, stretching, really good flexibility and stretching. It was a martial arts, lively ass kicking training. But when I did the 5 animal kung fu, it was different. It was just like standing there rooted on a stance. It was doing blocks, and it was like boring as hell, ugly as hell. And I'm thinking, what the fuck? But I stuck it out, and it trained me a different kind of discipline. So it was very good. It balanced it out. And anyway, that was really my main basic introduction, I'd say, into the world of kung fu, you know. And it was very, very good. But by luck, you could say, in a way, that I actually come across that skill. I found it myself, and I started training. Because if I didn't train any of that, if I just went straight in and learned wushu, or just flowing stuff, you know, like jumping kick, like taekwondo, if I just learned that flowing stuff, I might be flexible, but I would never have the same core training of self-defense, you know. And coupled with the Wing Chun and stuff that I really looked into more growing up, and I saw so many similarities too. And I've taught myself so much about Wing Chun too, because I've had Wing Chun's one of the styles I've had the least formal training. It's so funny, but I've trained with so many people that have had it, and I've studied it the hardest behind the scenes, training Wing Chun by myself. I've done books, videos, DVDs, everything. Training. I mean, really absorbing that stuff. I mean, standing every position for position, the stance work, and I've studied this fucking thing. Like, you know, there's people that have studied things. There's people in this world that have studied from sources, and they've been able to build themselves a fucking car, you know, or teach themselves a foreign language. And believe you and me, you can teach yourself a lot. But also believe this, that you can't really learn much about a style, a martial art, to the same degree as training with someone, a good teacher teaching you. But you can train yourself. Some things you can train better. And I'm just saying this, right, when I know that how my Wing Chun works, my Wing Chun, like when I'm training, when I teach people what I know, because I've got my own syllabus and everything based off what I know, and I just teach people what I know, right, the same way as all of my martial arts. But when I'm training with people, I see that my sticky hands, it may not have come from direct contact from one of the real Yip Man's students along the lineage or something. It may not be that, but when I'm with someone hand to hand and they're trying to wrestle me, some big tough guy, and I'm able to literally just absorb the skills with the sticky hand, the sensitivity, and I'm able to get them into a lock or throw them back, and I know that's working, and my stance is down, and I'm not sweating, and I can control that, boom, boom, boom. And I'm controlling this fucking guy all over the place, and the guy's falling over. I'm just tripping him up at will, flowing with his energy, whatever the guy's doing. Fuck me. If I've got that kind of skill, I know. I'm not boasting. I'm just saying, if I've got that a certain amount of skill, and I can feel that, and I'm telling the person to, I know damn well what I'm doing is not bullshit. That's some skill. I don't care if you learned how to paint. But, you know, from a caveman, or, you know what I'm saying, like you learn how to, whatever skills you've got, I believe you've got something you can share, your thing, you know, maybe painting or what it is. So what I'm going to say is, it's really funny that Wing Chun's one of the arts that I'm so confident in more than my other arts even that I know. I've always trained to be flexible. I've always trained a lot of kicking, basic kicks and stuff, but like good kicks, you know. As well, but that's different. That's like energy and flexibility, but the subtle stuff, the blocking in the hands, is really deep, simple but deep skill. And Wing Chun's great. The 5 animal kung fu system that I learned, as I say, it was like an introduction to that in a way. it was like a core training helping me of what would be to be. If I didn't have that training, my Wing Chun wouldn't be probably half as good as it is now. Because there's a lot of training in that. What we did was so similar. Stance work and hands work, blocking, like the Wing Chun, the white crane. What we learned mostly, okay, was crane and tiger. Okay, crane and tiger. Now you hear about a tiger and crane system. You hear about Hong Gar also having a lot of focus on the tiger and crane. Then you hear animals being in that and stuff. It gets kind of confusing, to be honest with you. There's various different forms of the ancient, the white crane fist kung fu. There's a lot of different. When I say forms, I mean different styles of it. Family, different schools of it. Basically, there has been lots of different ones. I think about 7 or more, maybe more. I don't know. 7 main ones. But crane, no, there's even a school of Wing Chun white crane or something. Wing Chun crane. Or crane Wing Chun. So there's even a school of that, which is so funny because Wing Chun is actually based off the crane. That's the snake and the crane. If you look in the history of the story about it, and but the skills. But tigers are great art. Now mantis and crane are very similar. That's what I was going to say. But let's just talk about crane for a second. Crane, okay. So when I was learning my 5 animal kung fu, we had like Chin Na training, we had other like southern Shaolin type training skills and stuff in there. We had philosophy, we had basic qigong breathing, and that's what we were doing, and stance, we're holding the position, posture, burning out, man. The qigong training, my goodness. Hard. We had weapons training and double sticks combat training. We had different trainings. We had the broadsword and the stick, the long stick. But I'm not talking about the ones I learned in China of those two. I also learned them in England with the 5 animal kung fu teacher, and it was different training, and we learned different forms. So we did that, and also butterfly knives, which you see in Wing Chun as well, and Hong Gar, I do believe. And also we learned some basic knife defense, but I also learned some in the kickboxing school too. So that was all that. So I did the karate, the kickboxing, the 5 animal kung fu. So that was all the main stuff, and a bit of Wing Chun, as I say, and Taekwondo, and looking into other stuff. But I'm babbling on. I'm waking up, man. I'm tripping over my words here. There's just so much stuff. So much stuff to take in. A lifetime of enjoyable training. So the white crane, okay, let's go on to it again, okay, yeah, so white crane fist, or the crane in general, is seen in so many martial arts. There are karate systems that have the crane as a big important part, or there are lots of moves and techniques which have crane techniques in them. There are Tai Chi, okay, Tai Chi, however you want to pronounce it, but, there are techniques with the white crane. You must have heard things like that, like white crane spreads its wings and stuff like that, but I'm just saying, you see it there. It's got a lot of it's been used in a lot of different arts. But the white crane was the main thing we learned. The teacher even said to me, he said, like, I'm more suited to the white crane, he said, the crane system, than the tiger. And I wasn't that powerful in that, but I do like tiger. And the funny thing is, I've even incorporated the animal styles into my Wing Chun as well, and I'm able to flow with them, it's like cool. So I know my fair share of tiger as well as crane. But let's talk about my 5 animal kung fu. My 5 animal kung fu I learned was tiger, crane, snake, leopard, and hang on one second. Snake, leopard, and dragon. But he didn't teach us hardly nothing of the dragon. I think he showed us a couple of things. We only ever learned a tiny bits and pieces of snake and leopard. And we mainly just focused on leopard and tiger, or at least for the time I was there learning. When I first joined my kung fu school, there were a couple of older guys in there. They clearly looked like they were in their 40s, 50s or whatever, and they'd been learning for 10 to 11 years. Some of the people with that same teacher learning for that length of time. They had skill, they were good, you know what I mean? But wow, man, it was great. It was really an experience. Now, we learned to fight like with, as I say, double sticks or like single, one weapon in one hand free. We learned different things like that. We learned bare hand skills. A bit of like kind of like ground fighting, like if you were taken down on certain things or how to do certain things. To be honest, we did learn some of that, yeah. But you know, most of it was like stand up, which is what I like, mainly stand up and how to take the opponent down, you know, not go down and lie on the floor and all that stuff. It's good to know some ground fighting, but you know, it's better to be standing up, isn't it? You want to just disperse the enemy, and that'll be that, you know, opponent. But anyway, yeah. So let's get on to what I was saying. So we learned other things in the school, like monkey. It was really funny. Like he was showing, like, what was it? Drunken monkey or something. One time he was showing that, but we learned such a little subtle movements of the monkey style, which is not part of the 5 animals and stuff. But there was stuff he knew. And mantis is what I was going to say to you. Mantis, we learned some mantis, and that stuck with me. And I was fascinated, and I was like looking at videos online of mantis too, and I was like realizing, because we learned some mantis in the school, and I was like getting more interested about mantis. But I realized that the mantis is similar to the crane, what we're doing anyway. You know, it's similar to the crane. I'll make some videos on just my basic bit of knowledge of what I understand about the different animal styles. Okay, I'll make some videos if you like when I get a chance, explaining some techniques. It's actually much harder for me to explain techniques without having someone here in the videos to show you with. And you know, it's really much better to teach stuff when we're together, like hand to hand, and I can show how to use the techniques, you know. The same as Wing Chun or any of these martial arts, you know. Because anyone can like throw kicks and punches or do a fancy position in front of the camera, and you know, what's that? You know, it's just seeing is believing, but feeling is the truth. You can learn so much. You can only learn so much, but to actually really get it, you know, to actually really feel it, like, oh God, this is not bullshit what he's saying here. This little skinny Richard or whoever's showing it, because anyone can show these techniques on video. If you know some fancy move, and you can do it, fancy or ugly, but it's up to anyone. You want to just believe that stuff. Oh, okay. You know, that's just silly. But if you're together and we're training, and you're like, okay, put pressure here, and you try certain things, and you realise how to get control, and you realise what is real and what's not. You're like, this is useful. Okay, I could still knock Richard out here. Well, you might think, but there's no denying that the mechanics of the structure work. There's always things you can do. We can talk about hand techniques all day, but you wouldn't be playing at the same time. I could just knee you in the nut. Like someone could just throw a low kick out and surprise someone. There's always things you can do. No style, you know, perfect. But the point is learning that structure. Someone grabs my arm from behind. Of course, I can elbow him in the head. You know what I'm saying? Someone grabs my hand. I can grab his hand, pull it down, punch over, can't I? I can do stuff, you know. Someone's going to hit me here. I can do this and cover, but I can also put my hand and stop it in the right timing. You might say, well, doing a fancy block like that, someone can, on the side here, if I do this, you might think it's good, this kind of covering. I like to do this kind of blocking, where you're just blocking with your hands before it comes in. But you might say someone can hook around and hit me in the head. Of course, man, if you don't angle yourself and work things. See, it's not clear cut, like what works and what doesn't work. It just depends on what you do. There's always openings, nothing's perfect. But the thing is, when you train, you learn speed, reaction, power, you learn how to simplify things, and work with your bodily structure too. Because people are different heights, different builds as well. But there's a different way, you know what I mean? A kick might be good in certain situations. Another kind of blocking technique with a hand would be different, useful at different situations. So you can't compare styles or techniques, because they just are what they are. But Yeah, it was a very good experience learning the white crane fist, and it's mainly like soft movements with the white crane, soft absorbing with the wings of the bird, you know, and a lot of circular hands, flowing, absorbing. I've got this chair in the way here, but you know how to block and come in things, you know. It looks kind of silly, I know, but it's a bit like the mantis. See, the mantis is more like hard, a little bit more stiffer, but the crane's more subtle, like washing away. But it's like, you know, you're like doing these different techniques in the styles that I'll learn. See, and you can mix it in with your boxing and stuff. See, anyway, this is what people don't understand. Coming in, bam, 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 coming in, catch with your arm, block. See, then hit. There's different kind of techniques we do. And you learn to hook with the hands in the back of the hand to catch rather than always grab. You hook and you come in. You know, you can work different kind of techniques. It's very much like Wing Chun. So that's why you see a lot of skills like that in Wing Chun, which are very similar. You know, where you're using your wrists, as I say, your forearms to block, your open hand skills. I just find it very fascinating anyway. So it's all interesting. But you know, I won't talk too much now, but you know, that sensitivity training, that pushing hands, the sticky hands, you see. I mean, like in Tai Chi's got pushing hands, and Bagua systems do, and all that. You got Aikido, Wing Chun has its sticky hands. This kind of training is so amazing. I love it. Because you learn to stick to the opponent and flow as they're moving into the best, most subtle position, but how to utilise that, how to get the upper hand, you know, working with the opponent's motion, you know, using their energy against them, basically, their own energy and force against them, basically. Very, very deep training. It's not just like you stand there, you do fancy movements and you just punch and kick. That's different, see? And that's why it's always good to work, though. I admit I should do some more strength training and stuff. Like, I've let myself down a bit. Like, I do a lot of full body stretching and working out. I do some strength, but it's like most of my strength's in my legs. I've got good stance work and kicks and stuff. My arms, I could do more. I think I should be doing some weights. I've got some dumbbells there. I could do some push-ups. I've got my punch bag there, which is good. Pads and stuff, but the thing is, like, you know, it's all good, but I'm just saying, you know, that's that. But it's like, yeah, it's good to train, you know. So like kickboxing and stuff, getting them fast punches and kicks for anyone to get the energy in you to punch. You know, I've got to be careful here. You know, coming striking hard. But you've seen me on my punch bag, right? You've seen me going blitzing them punches. And I do kicks and that. That's a different kind of thing. See, if you're on the street and you're having a fight, boom, someone's choking you and you elbow the fuck off his head, you know, smack, throwing it all in, then punches, you know, grab it, knee, kick, fucking slam it, bang it in, you know, got the shoes on and everything. Yeah, that's that. You need that explosive, fast training as well. But when someone starts choking the shit out of you and you know how to root yourself and just absorb and go into those soft techniques and boom, chuck him that way, and you know, and throwing himself over basically, and you're getting him into control. That's where that deep kung fu training comes in as well. Knowing how to place the hands and relax in your root and feel the direction of the energy force, you know. That's what, see, the Wing Chun and the centre, it will stay with you for life. It's just amazing skill. And sadly, a lot of people don't understand it. They think you're just bullshit. They think you're living in a daydream because you're Mr. Skinny, Mr. and Mrs. Skinny, thinking you can. That's what they think. They think it's a cop-out. See, a lot of people think that you do traditional martial arts, you think, you don't need any strength, or you just stand there doing a fancy pose and say, oh yeah, I'm going to win, yeah, I can do my... And they think it's all bullshit. They don't realise that you're a normal person. You even could be like really tough doing your MMA or whatever, muscle man, whatever it is. But at the same time, it's like there are situations where a certain technique or a certain position would work. And they're ignoring all of that, or they're putting that all to the side, and they're saying that this stuff doesn't work. That's the issue. We're not saying that you can't win fights with all your stuff you're doing. We're not saying you can't say, because you can't say any technique is useless, but that's what they try and do. They try and say that traditional martial arts is useless, is what they want to say. Kung fu, you know, aikido, ninjutsu, useless. They think it's all silly bullshido. They don't understand how deep the skills are and the root and how useful it is. So it doesn't. They don't have to learn it. You know, they can stick to the MMA and stuff. It's good, but they don't really understand how you. That's like me when I say like I'm not interested in ground fighting and ground jiu-jitsu, Gracie jiu-jitsu and all that stuff. People turn around and say, "Oh, you're wrong, man. That's useful. You don't know how good that is." See, I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying I'm not interested in it. But these people, they're saying we, the people who do traditional martial arts and kung fu, they're saying we're all full of bullshit, all bullshit, because they don't understand that it's a really deep art. You've had people that go into these fight competitions and stuff, trying to take on MMA or, you know, obviously clearly well versed, conditioned fighters, trained ring fighters in MMA. And you've had these traditional kung fu guys come in, and they've not been training for that. They're just in a stance. Oh, I'm going to use my fancy style, and they get their arse beat, and that gives us a bad name. That gives the traditional martial arts a bad name. Not even the fact that they lost, giving MMA people a false sense of ego, of a confidence, like thinking that that's what it is, because traditional stuff's crap. But it's also for the fact that these people went in there with the wrong attitude and they've not trained. You can't learn some bullshit, or learn traditional martial arts and say, because of my belief alone that this style is going to work, or because we've done various drills in the school, that this thing is going to work. You may even have some good training, like drills and stuff in the school you're learning, traditional martial arts, like blocking and stuff. You know, I'll give you an example. It's like, let's say kickboxing, right? I used to do kickboxing, hardcore, and we used to do certain drills, you know, like we'd hold pads up and stuff, and you'd throw jab, duck, kick, you know, you'd have to hit the pads and timing and rhythm and stuff. But it's different to a real fight, isn't it? With an opponent coming at you. That's different. Like when we're doing sparring, it's different immediately, right? So what I'm trying to say is, okay, what about kung fu? Okay, same thing. You could be doing drills and blocks and things and working stuff out, or karate, whatever you're doing, and the timing's there, the perfect position's there. You're ready. You're in a stance. See, you've got to have that level of realness. So when I'm doing sticky hands with people and throwing them over or whatever we're doing, you know, we're literally working a more lively paced, fast paced, not pre-planned stuff. Some kind of controls where necessary to be careful, you know, but we're going at it, you know, and you want to get more real reality training is what you want to get. You want to be able to go, if you're going to go into a competition, you want all of your skills, whatever you've been learning, you want it to be there. Whether I don't give a fuck if it's Muay Thai or Taekwondo, you're going to have it. It's got to be an instinct. You're going to be going in there as a human being, not someone like, I'm in my stance now, this is my fancy stance, ninja, whatever the fuck. It's got to be like, here I am. Someone comes at me, their face is here, bam, my Muay Thai elbow comes in. Someone's at a range more, I throw that low kick, whatever it is. Someone starts choking me, I step through and throw them over. This could come from judo, it could come from Wing Chun, whatever. It just works because the structure works into your natural reaction and your ability. You know? That's what it's got to be. It's got to be, you've got to have confidence in this thing is in you. Not have confidence that, okay, I'm going to try and make this thing work and I'm going to make sure I'm in the stance and stand and show everybody my style. And this guy's coming at you, reading you like a fucking stiff wooden dummy, and he's coming up and he's smashing you up, you know. Because you're not even ready for the way he's going to be throwing at you. Believing that you know something rather than... It's like walking into a busy road or walking out into the motorway believing that you know about road safety and that you're going to get hit by a car if you're not in the flow of it all. Thinking about swimming and swimming are two different things. You know, thinking about ice skating and watching it, thinking you understand the whole thing is very different to actually ice skating. You know. Yeah. You know, that's it. Basically is. So, but you know, yeah. So as I say, I have more experience in white crane than any of the other animals that I learned in my kung fu. But the white crane really, for me, we only learn certain skills. Like the martial arts I've learned in my life, we've learned certain skills, certain forms, and that's that. Yeah, and it's the same sort of thing when I was learning too, the 5 Animal Kung Fu, because we all learn different skills from this teacher, and be it from the different animal systems or from whatever we was learning that he was teaching us, people took to different things, you know. So people that left the school or went out into their lives, wherever they are now, we all learn different things from that teacher. I took away a lot of the conditioning we did on the arms and the crane. Yeah. It really was good training. You know, some of them, I'll put it this way, some of them people that I trained with, or that was training in my school that I was learning, the 5 Animal Kung Fu, the conditioning, who had been learning for more years than me even. Some of those people, I'm telling you, right, you wouldn't want to fuck with. You know what I'm saying? I mean, in terms of, like, if you go, if someone was to go up to them and try and attack them, even women, you've got men and women learning in there, even women who are learning, you wouldn't expect it. But because we train in that school with such rooted stances, they're able to ground themselves, and if you're trying to hit them, they've got the reaction to block, and their arms are solid, trust me, they block and control the shit out of you and absorb and pull you into an attack. They got the hands, the fast hands, you know, the blocking, the stopping. You try and grab them, they'll grab you, get you into a lock or something. It's self-defense training, trust me. Moving around, hitting different areas, you know, with different techniques. Kung Fu, it works, you know. And believe you and me, man. Anybody out there, I'm telling you now, don't take it like bullshit and for a joke, you know. People don't understand Kung Fu, you know. People don't understand that nowadays. You just think of people, the young people, they just think of like, you know, it's a joke. Just something we say. Kung Fu, yeah, man. Movies, games, and they don't realise it's a real, deep knowledge, and it's not something you just learn for a couple of weeks. You know, or a couple of days. Like, oh, I used to do Kung Fu, man. Oh, you take Kung Fu? I'll show you a few tricks. Get the fuck out of it. You know, it's a lifelong journey of deep knowledge and art, but you've got to be lucky enough to find like teachers in this day and age and really get that experience and train. So I want to say thank you so much for watching this video, okay? Here's my tissue. I'm looking for that tissue, man. Okay. So you take care of yourself. I really hope you've enjoyed this video, okay? I'm just sharing some knowledge and some of my past on the Kung Fu training, okay? Thank you very much for watching. Train hard and stay safe, as I always say. There will be more videos, okay? Martial art videos from me and stuff, alright? Because I've been sharing for so many years. But I took down some re-uploads that I did post, you know. So I might re-upload some again, okay? If you want to see some old training videos, I might upload some again if I get a chance, okay? But I just want to make new videos and stuff on this channel, really, you know what I mean? Because I've got so many other videos up on my old channels for martial arts training. But you know, don't worry. Martial arts for life. Lots of Kung Fu stuff to come when I can, okay? But it's mostly art and animation I'm doing a lot of now as well, you know, my passion. And making some music on the side too, you know, and that. And writing. So I'm going to stop this one here. You take care of yourselves, okay? Be safe always.